Why is it so difficult to make over $65,000 in the US? It's insanely difficult to make money. I can barely fathom the competence, stress tolerance, and intelligence required for some of these $150,000 jobs when it's nearly impossible to even make $65,000. How do people do it? It is jacked up, but I worked much harder for $40,000 and $50,000 than I do for $180,000. It is not perfectly linear to assume higher paid jobs are necessarily harder. I start off at $80,000 fixing airplanes for a major airline. Top out is about $140,000. 2-year trade schooling to get my license, and management is not allowed to rush me into doing anything unsafe. As someone who has been making over 6 figures for decades and worked with people making way over that, let me clear up your biggest misconception. They are all incompetent. Dunning-Kruger. They are so incompetent they can't even understand how incompetent they and their peers are. It's all politics. Whoever suggests someone is incompetent is going to out everyone, and they, not the incompetents, are the threat. Don't chase your passion. Pick a stable career that has a good average income. That's how. Most office jobs means the less you do and the higher you move up, the more you make. People making around $50,000 to $70,000 get paid to do work. People making over $100,000 get paid to make decisions. This is generally speaking for corporate jobs. In many technical fields, after getting 5 years plus experience, it is easy to make over $65,000. The issue is the exceedingly competitive entry-level positions because there are so few of them, allowing you to actually get that 5 years experience. No one wants a rookie in a technical field, but everyone needs them. The stress tolerance is way lower at those thresholds. The hardest you will ever work in this country is for $60K. Hardest I ever worked was min wage at a McDonald's. Office jobs ever since. The honest, sometimes frustrating truth of the situation is that breaking above the $65,000 mark tends to mean specializing and competing. 2 things which involve taking risks that not everyone has the luxury of taking. Specialization is risky because you could end up investing yourself in the wrong skill set or niche, leaving yourself without options down the line. However, the people with jack of all trade backgrounds or degrees tend to struggle breaking above a certain ceiling in their industry because they often compete with the folks who did take the risk and specialize in the needed skill set for a role. And competing tends to be risky because it means playing the game insofar that you have to put yourself out there in ways where you could get burned. You can take ownership and accountability of Project X, but if it fails, you might get fired. You invest in professional relationships with people who might help you get ahead, but they could end up disappearing tomorrow. Linking up with a manager who is working towards getting you a promotion, only for them to be replaced by a new manager who won't honor the old manager's promises. Or you decide to jump from company A to company B to chase a pay bump, only to find the work is awful and ultimately limiting. I suppose that's all to say that it's difficult because not all of us have the means or flexibility to take risks. I was fortunate to have such a luxury in my earlier days, being able to specialize in a reasonably risky direction while making 2 big jumps that meant trusting a few key mentors. To be right, the risk paid off for me, but none of it was ever 100%. And I've had moments wishing I had gone the safer routes in times of vulnerability. However, I wouldn't have reached my current level by not taking risks. And if that's your goal, Then you need to be open to taking bigger risks than you have to this point, and it should go without saying. You either need to be a good talker or very good at your work to actually capitalize on those risks taken. Stimulants and a desire to not be homeless. I notice the more you make, most of the time, the less they require of you. Just from my experience, it's strange and it's backwards. Medical field. You have to do something that's in demand where more people are always needed. Bonus if it's subsidized by the government in some way, because that will also fluff incomes. I've been in the tech industry for 27 years. I'm probably underpaid, but about double 65K. The thing about those jobs is, no one knows how to do them. I got started back in the day by going cubicle to cubicle, begging for someone to give me a chance. When a Unix admin quit, there are 3 things required to get one of those high-paying jobs, from what I can tell. 1, a mentor that you trust enough to ask every dumb question you have, even if you feel like it makes you sound incompetent. 2, a hiring manager willing to take a chance on you. 3, either no personal responsibilities, or a partner who is willing to do all the personal responsibilities. While you struggle for the first 3 to 6 months at the new job, things will settle down after that. Those 3 people can be the same person, other than the partner, I guess. You could cobble a mentor-like thing together by asking different people the dumb questions. For example, the point is, try to build relationships with people who have the power to help you get that foot in the door. If I hadn't gotten myself a mentor in my cube-to-cube begging, maybe I'd still be doing help desk support for $35,000. Who knows? When I say try to build relationships, I mean that. The old term for this is networking, which is basically making friends in the hopes that they will help you make money. That's what you're doing. But that doesn't mean you won't also be making genuine friendships. I'm not talking about using people. I'm talking about being in the forefront of their minds so that when they see an opportunity, they think, wow, this might be a good opportunity for you. America is all about who you know and who you bleep. The easiest way to make $100K in America is get good at selling things. Don't need a college degree in most cases. It's really funny you should say that, because I just left a job where I made around $60K a year combined for a job where I make around $90K. And the difference in workload is night and day. Old job I averaged like 15 hours a week, if not a little less towards the end when I got really efficient, probably like 10. New job I'm working on average 30 hours of real work every week, and starting to fall behind its nets. Over 3 times as much work and 30% increase in pay. You have to get into the right field. For example, I make about $125,000 working in a technical role for an insurance company. I don't have any special competence or intelligence, but I do have some knowledge and skills that my company apparently values. Jobs aren't valued entirely on merit. $65,000 is at the low end of starting salaries for an entry-level programmer with a bachelor's degree. My wife and I both have bachelor's degrees, and she's been working 5 years longer than I have, but I still make more money. I am a programmer at a financial company, and she administrates the care of disabled adults. Her job is way more important and difficult. Human lives can literally be at stake. I work on programs that move billions of dollars of corporate money. Guess which industry is more profitable? It gets easier, bro. 65 to 75K is the barrier range. To leap over this gap, you need serious experience or expensive schooling. You have to have rare skills that no one else has. You don't even have to be good, just obscure and vital. Old people are sacrificing youth through ignorant legislation. That just stifles everything all the time in the name of a few banks and airlines. You feel like things are stagnating because the entire country works to support a leisure class rather than to build wealth and prosperity for each other. The poor must be poor because who else will work at the Taco Bell? Are we just going to let supply and demand dictate what we need? Duck no. We need not be told what to do by rotting old people who haven't done real work in years and would be eaten alive in literal days in today's working environment. Class war. A lot of good points about luck, incompetence at high levels, and connections. My sense is that a big barrier is just not seeing the path to better pay or employment. Some of that is intentional, some isn't. Folks get that knowledge from their family, friends, schools, random mentors, or more rarely their company. It's why you see various types of nepotism in fields. Maybe someone gets that cushy job or promotion ladder because their parents own the company. But other times, just being exposed to the ins and outs of a field means it is easier to navigate it. That's why I'm not surprised by doctors begetting doctors. Or the whole Nepo baby ordeal in entertainment. Ask a random kid how to become a medical doctor. Then ask a child of a medical doctor. It's also why you see folks make unusual career jumps. When talking with people like that, it's often a random exposure to a job or connection. And suddenly a whole field opens up to them. Or when you hear someone say, "I never knew this was an option for me till that moment." So many skills are universal. People just don't always know it to be true. Leave a comment about some things you have learned on the job. This is my first YouTube video, so leave a like for the new guy and subscribe.